So I've been asked to talk about inclusive classrooms and my reflections on the Quest conference. And so I just want to talk about a couple of things. I think we as teachers are, like most people and most workers in our world today, there tends to be a lot of things in our lives that as professionals may get in our way. I mean, we're parents, we're workers, we're community members, and so on. There are a lot of things that are involved, that we are involved with, that we have to that take up our mental energies and so on. We have paperwork to think about. We have lesson plans to think about. We have our kids and so on. We have our taxes to pay. Sometimes I believe that all of these things get in the way of what we're really all about, and that is looking after kids and teaching kids how to think. I believe that we should be looking at kids, looking at our students and helping them to learn how to think and how to communicate, how to problem solve, and so on. The challenge comes, I think, when we have to look at our own belief structure. What do we believe as people? Who are we as individuals? We're the teachers, and we may have the most influence in our classrooms. So who are we? Am I the person who pays my taxes? Am I the person who raises my kids? Or am I the person who teaches the students in my classroom about equity? I think we all have to take a close look at our belief structures. Let's take a look at who those people are that are in front of us. As I'm walking down the street today, as I'm driving around my community, and I see someone who looks in a certain way, I see someone who talks a certain way, my first impression is what? So if my first impression is such and such, should I challenge that belief structure and then go take a look at that person a little bit more carefully? Should I talk to that person? Yes, I should, because probably, or perhaps, within that person's, what that person's all about may be entirely different than what I have just, the opinion I have just formulated. So often this occurs when I'm looking at someone, for example, who may be handicapped, physically handicapped, and I'm thinking they cannot run, or they cannot walk, or they're having trouble getting around, and they may not be able to do what the rest of us can do. Well, of course, that's a belief structure that should be challenged, because what's keeping those people from doing what I can do or what other people can do physically? And that same thing happens mentally, emotionally, and so on. Take a look at, the person that's walking down the road may be a millionaire, but they may not be dressed like a millionaire. They might be driving a car which is 10 years old, but they may have lots of money. You just never know until you actually interact with that person and take the time to find out who they are. And I think that's really important. And it's an important thing that we as teachers should do. Take the time in our classrooms to find out who those children are, who those students are. Find out a little bit more about their families, their backgrounds, their ethnic background, their religion, their belief structures, their ceremonies, their celebrations. Let's find out a little bit more about who and what they're all about. That way, we're able to interact and teach them, we're able to understand who they are. And as a result of understanding who they are, then we become better teachers because we can teach to their strengths.